And now to Decision 2008. Al Gore heating up. The former vice president has a new book out, The Assault on Reason, and he occupies the cover spot on the latest issue of Time magazine. He says he's, quote, fallen out of love with politics. But he's scoring in the double digits in the presidential polls, and he still hasn't ruled out another White House run. So let's go back to the boys. MSNBC political analyst Pat Buchanan and Democratic strategist Peter Fenn. Gentlemen, welcome back.
Thank you, Mika.
Peter, I'll start with you this time. Even though Gore won the popular vote back in 2000, he was criticized for his debate performance. Remember that? Remember the eye rolling and the sighing? He also lost his home state of Tennessee. So I'm just wondering, is the idea of Al Gore as the perfect presidential candidate a bit of a myth, or has he evolved a bit with all that movie training?
Well, the cover of Time isn't quite a statuette like you talked about in the previous segment. But
maybe he should be doing Tipper's laundry.
That's right. Well, that would help him, I think.
Maybe
yes, good idea. I think there are a lot of people who believe strongly that had Al Gore been the president for the last 8 years, this country would be a lot different place. And so I think there's a certain amount of that's in there. But, you know, he has a lot of friends, a lot of supporters who are pushing him pretty hard, Mika. But, you know, he doesn't seem to be biting right now. He's busy as can be, traveling the country, giving speeches, writing these books. He feels he's almost campaigning in his current state. I mean, he's campaigning for Earth in the balance.
Yeah.
So I think that to get him back into this race at this point, especially with Tipper not wanting him to do it, I think would be a hard sell.
Yeah, but it could be a really good story. Let me ask Pat for the GOP perspective here, because Republicans have been sort of getting ready for Hillary. Would they welcome Al Gore as the nominee, or does he present kind of a difficult challenge? I mean, he could be the revenge candidate, you know?
Al is revenge. Well, let me say this. That's very good, Mika.
Thanks.
Look, no, I think Mr. Gore, I think Gore is much better as a candidate, as a non-candidate, than when he gets in. And so that's true of a lot of folks when he gets in. But clearly there is an opening, Mika, because Obama is stalled. There's no doubt about it. As Peter and I were talking, he laid a real egg out there at the Detroit Economic Club, bashing the auto industry. John Edwards had a terrible debate, the $400 haircut, the House and all that. And so what Democrats see is Hillary, and they say she had a good debate, but they're scared to death that she can't win it. Right. And that's why I think they're looking for Al. And Al might be looking now at an opening if Obama is slipping, because the anti-Hillary elements in the Democratic Party, I think, are still pretty much a majority.
I mean, that's a really good point, that whole negative Q rating, and will America elect Hillary Clinton? Peter, why don't you chime in? Because can Al Gore really run on this issue of global warming?
You know, the other issue, of course, with Al Gore is he was against the war in Iraq from the beginning. So, you know, he has a very strong base there. The thing about Al Gore's situation, Mika, is that he can't afford to wait. He doesn't have to make a decision this month or next month. By the fall, obviously, he's going to make some decisions. And Iowa's key. He's got to get up and running and going in Iowa if he's going to do it. But, you know, it'll be interesting to see how this race develops. You know, these things go through ebbs and flows. You know, it's very possible that Edwards would bounce back, or that Obama will get his sea legs here in the next few months. Look, we have, I think, on the Democratic side, very good candidates this time. Even those that are in the second tier are superb candidates. Bill Richardson, Joe Biden. You know, these guys are very, very good candidates. So I think Al's looking at the field and thinking, boy, you know, it's not like there's a bunch of schlumps in there.
Yeah, but still, I'm still thinking it's going to be Al Gore and Fred Thompson.
Well, I mean, you could. I mean, look, it's a horse that's run the race. You know, you see that the paddock doors open. Yeah. You see folks lining up. You know, those horses go to those stalls and take off.
That's right, Pat.
You know, Mika, and there's another thing that Peter and I were talking about. The legendary James Carville said of Al Gore that running for president is like sex. It's not something you have one time and then forget all about.
Oh, Lordy.
And so Al is probably, look, he did come close. He won the popular vote, as you said. He's got to see himself as president. Got to have tremendous regrets for that. And if he sees an opening, he's got to be tempted. And all this media, it tells me something's behind all this media saying Al might get in, and maybe Al is behind it.
I totally agree. I mean, and Pat, you know a thing or two about political redemption stories.
Right,
I mean, Nixon, you know, I mean, he was all but gone back in '60 and in '62. You laugh at my revenge comment, but come on.
Well, no, it's not revenge. I think, the comeback story is a great story. Not the revenge story is not. Comeback is very good. And I do agree, he's got two aces. He is Mr. Environment. I mean, in the Democratic Party, that's enormous. And he was right from the Democratic and the country standpoint on the war. The problem is, we used to say about Nelson Rockefeller, in the polls he was always beating us until he got into the race and people would say, oh no, it's him again. And I'm afraid Gore's got that problem.
The one thing I think that's really important here is that he does have a message now.
Yes,
you could make the argument in 2000 it was kind of all over the place, but boy, he's got a strong message on the environment, as Pat says, on Iraq, and boy, that counts for something in politics.
Pat Buchanan and Peter Fenn, thank you, gentlemen, very much.
Okay,
Lots of fun.